Great. Let's go. Okay, good. Let's go. We'll be blending today. Great. お願いします。
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 Great. We'll just do a little bit of loosening up. Body a little bit. Settle the feet, bouncing the weight of the body down. Just a little bit of loosening for the head. Nice and slow in circles. Right, going to the right, the other way. Good, against the shoulders. Sure that's the side. Wow. Great. Rotating forwards and backwards. Great, rolling the elbows. Working together. Relaxing the wrists up and down. Side to side. Roll the wrists. Wait, the other way. Rolling that to the hips. Great circle in the hips. The way. To the knees, front and back. And round circles. Great. Just pressing one foot down. Rolling the ankle. Great. Other side. Great. Roll in onto the toes, holding at the top. Sinking down, pressing back onto the heels. Again up onto the toes. Sinking down, heels. Great, and just working the sides. Great. Okay, perfect. Grab a joke. So this one's just taking the Joe in the hands, just about shoulder width apart, just raising up to the top, nice and slow, all the way up, high as you can, sinking down, keeping the shoulders nice and mobile. Right, and taking the Joe just with the thumbs out to the top, same movement all the way up to the top, reaching up. This time as you get to the top, as if you're kind of bringing the Joe behind you, and then just bending the elbows, bringing the Joe down to the shoulder blades, down to the shoulders, and then stretching back up, all the way up, all the way down. Down. Just one more here. Great. Okay, taking the ends of the Joe. This time you're going to take one step forward, roll up all the way, and then let the Joe come all the way, stretch it all the way to the tailbone. Reaching up, looking at the ceiling. Nice and slowly release it out. Drop the arms back, bring the feet back together, and then go to the other side. And stepping out, rolling up, press through the back heel, at the back foot, on the ball of the foot. Stretch all the way up. Slowly on, slowly off. Just a couple on each side. Okay, one more on each side, to the right. Last one to the left. Perfect, centering back down again. Okay, and then you're going to take the Joe to the back. You want the thumbs facing in for this one, and just a little bit wider with the legs and a little bit not so wide that you're at the end of the Joe, just about shoulder width apart. And you're just going to bend down from the waist. Keep the legs tight but not kind of straightened, and then bring the Joe up. Look between the legs, you bend down, stretch up into the shoulder blades, and slowly off, come up. So a little bit of a stretch through the back of the legs, but not too much. tighten this one. Perfect. Okay, you're going to take the Joe over the shoulders now. I'm just going to wrap the arms around just so you're kind of relaxing the top of the wrist on it. And then with this one, again, a little bit wider with the feet, you're going to twist the hips in, twist the Joe. And the first you just get the Joe so it's kind of horizontal. So just kind of release it, press it on both sides, just in your own time to do it. Keep the Joe kind of even. Both sides on the shoulders. Perfect. Right. Now, as you go into the next set of this one, think about slightly spiraling up the Joe on the outside hand. It's going to kind of create a gentle spiral up. And in this one, let the same side foot mobilize through the back. So you're slightly coiling up the body. Back side's going down, front side's going a little bit up. So you come out of it. Just a gentle spiral up through the body. Perfect. Okay, great. Just release the Joe over the top when you come back. Great. And we're just going to work with that same kind of spiral line. Take the Joe in the hands just like this, so it's kind of pinned into the palm. Okay, you can do the same motion here, but you're going to, as you go into it, the bottom hand now is going to go down, going to go low, and the back hand, this hand is going to go up to the top. So just as if you're kind of scooping the Joe up this way, and just let that hand open out the top. Work with the same kind of hip motion here. This hip goes to this kind of position, and then think about pressing up through the bottom of the Joe, reaching up with the top, and again, you want to quick spiral through the whole body. This one, just hold it a little bit at the top, lengthen it through the spine, and slowly releasing it, kind of to the other side. Slowly spiral it on. Great, keep going with that one. Good. Nice. That's it. Good. Right. Now, as you go into the next set, you do the same thing, but just gently with the body. You're going to slightly lean the body over to the front leg. So in this one, let that front leg open out as well. So as you rotate into this, let that leg outside leg open out, and then think about as you come up, just slightly leaning the weight of the body forward into that leg, and just use that again. Just have the sense that you're drawing up a spiral from this leg up the front hip, all the way up to that hand. The same foot to hand, and drawing up with a spiral this way. So that kind of feeling, and allow that foot also to kind of slightly open out. So you can use the kind of traditional hand foot facing forward. You can just slightly open out at the knee, allows it. But the big thing here is allowing yourself to just shift slightly the weight of the body forward. That spiral through the jaws. You're pulling up to the ceiling. So slowly release the weight back, and then go to the other tips to the side. Let the foot open out to the front. Here, feel like you slightly keep on the spine. That's it. Good. And then just to loosen out the chest, the body, we're going to kind of keep working with these fire lines, but just press the jaw into the body and just rolling with the chest here. So let the arms go with the motion, let the feet loosen out. You should do it. Way with the body. Put the jaw up and down the body. Now just think about mobilizing the legs with it now. So you've got that motion, keep that going. Now think about opening the legs out as you do it. So using the contact with the jaw, but now the legs are basically going to kind of open and close as you do it. So let the legs now start to open and close with movement. Just kind of winding, take that contact point of the jaw, let it change the arms, and let it change the lower body as well. So work both ways, kind of rolling forward, rolling back. So. Okay, perfect. Now play with stepping with it. So again, you've got that motion, let the feet kind of start to open with the movement, and then play with rolling the hips through the motion so you're going to get a kind of stepping motion with it. So you're going to roll, 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 and then play with both ways. And in this case, play with rolling forwards, backwards, Joe, and stepping forwards and backwards. So let's plan with it. So you want to kind of generate a feeling like you're kind of coiling the body through the movement. And what you can do now is also lower the body into the ground, lower the knees into the ground. So it's just that, in a way, it's just to emphasize the kind of weight shift and the ability to kind of come in and out of the ground. But the key thing is the sense of how to use the legs to it. So basically the same as the stepping, but just makes it a little bit more complex. So now we're drawing the body down to the ground, keeping that motion driving, and just play with different ways of coming in and out of the ground with it. Trying to maintain the balance in the structure. Front and the back really moving together as you pass a spiral. 1, 12, 12. Okay, great. We're going to come to the idea now of kind of pressing power out through it, so or kind of a feeling out through it. So we did this with the belt. You're going to kind of snap the belt together and then release it. Do the same exercise with the Joe. So go in the hands kind of a little bit shoulder width apart, and just play with the idea of bringing the snapping onto the Joe and releasing it. So you want to kind of like snap as if you're trying to kind of pull the Joe apart, and then release it, and then release it, and then release it. So you get a little bit less feedback with the jaw, obviously. But the other thing is you get a more of a fixed position with the hands. So has kind of positives and negatives using the belt or the jaw. The key thing with this is feel that as soon as you snap it, snap the feeling, release it. Snap, release. Snap, release. Snap, release. Snap, release. That's it.
You can feel the gel vibrate.
Yeah. Right. If you're relaxed enough grip, you feel boom. So this is actually like the same feel you're looking for in the strike, like that kind of feeling, that kind of snap in the weapon. It's that same kind of feeling. So I want that, and this while this does it, hopefully try and feel you get the vibration in the jaw, or you get this kind of vibration in the jaw. Try and also feel that vibration happen here. So if the center is relaxing, kind of grounding down, you should hopefully get the kind of feet back into the center as well. So it's quite subtle, but you slightly feel the center comes on. Now that won't happen if I do this and then hold it. Basically, if I hold the center, if I hold the out like that, I basically block all that feel. So especially this area, this tenses up. So play now with basically you want to relax power, but play with like tens. That's tens, and feel where the feeling blocks. If I tense the arms up, you see like cut off the movement here, that kind of feeling. And then play with trying to, as much as you can, drop the center, keep the grip strong, but see if you can get the feeling to go into the center, to the center of the body. So the whole waist, and feel that the center also the whole area of the body. Like if you've got had a belt strapped around the body, feel that whole area kind of comes online. That's it. Yeah, good. And then again, a similar idea, what we did also with the belt, looking at kind of, you're going to now start to kind of rotate, but again, feel you've got the slightly extension through the arms at first. At the first, a little bit of the tension is kind of good, and then you can kind of start to release it once you've got the connection. But feel that you've got the jo in the hands, and then what you want to what you want to think now is about rotating through the body. So getting that kind of on, and then just think about both sides going. So start in the middle, get that kind of tension just enough so that you've got feeling of connection between both arms down the jo, and then rotate the whole body. It doesn't need to be much, but you want to feel a kind of equal connection both ways. So. That's it. That's. Now, what you also want to feel in this one is it's as if the jo is stuck to the body. So just do a few here where you've got the arms out, can be lower, it can be a little bit higher, but feel like it's at the chest. Again, you've got that connection out of the arms. It's a normal position for the arms, but feel that now, if I want to move the jo, basically move the whole body, so the whole chest goes with it. And I want to feel that I'm actually moving the jo with this part of the body. So that kind of shifts it. Connection shifts it. Once you've done a few of that, just play with coming out a little bit, but keep that connection, the center of the chest and the jo go. So they go together. But the main thing this is trying to teach us that the arms don't lead it, and then the body's kind of following it. So really get a sense that the arms are equal, and then the chest. That's the jo out. Yeah, that's it. It's a very simple exercise, but teaches a nice kind of mechanic. That's it. So before we go into a kind of spy work with it, just going to play with kind of raising and dropping the jo. So we're going to do it with that same kind of twist. So what I want to do is you're going to raise it up to the center, here, and then you're going to pick a side. Again, keep that sense of equal. The arms are basically now just going to drop in that position. But again, let the chest basically rotate to one side. But keep this nice and kind of basic in a way. You want the jaw to stay kind of horizontal. You're going to raise it up about shoulder width apart, and then drop in. Take it all the way down. But try and feel that all the time the center line of the body is pressing to the center of the jaw. So make kind of real connection between the hands, the jaw, and the center line of the body. So just open the feet as you kind of feel you need to. If you feel the kind of knees are locking out, just open that foot out if you need to. The key thing here is getting the body, the arms really working together. Now, you're going to play a little bit with important spiral into the jaw. So it's going to go into the hand, but you want now that feeling you got in the hands here, a little bit like kind of pulling them apart again. And then feel that you want to move a spine to the hip. You're going to do it by shifting the hip. So again, very, very subtle movement, but play with just the hip, bringing it in. Hip, bringing it in. So you want the hip to change the hand. So the easiest way is just think about the right hip to the right hand, and then the left hip to the right. So it's a very, very subtle spiral. But in the beginning, keep a little bit of tension and keep a little bit of the feeling that you're kind of pulling the jaw apart, just so you've got that kind of system, the upper body and the arms kind of locked into one system. And then I just want the hip to start to be kind of flexible with that connection. So the flexibility and the change of the arms and the jaw is going to come really from the hip. So if you struggle with the hip a little bit, also play with kind of stretching this out and then just really loosen the hip out. So you should feel that this is locked, and then basically the hip should be free. And then I basically want to create a connection again with the center line of the jaw, center of my body, and then get the hip kicking into it. So that's it. Now just play with the hands a little bit. So you're going to open one side out. So you've got less of a kind of tension now, but that kind of same feeling here. Think about now that hip again, connecting to that same hand. So that connecting in. So the connection has a little bit looser, so the tendency is now to start working with the hand over the hip. But just try and keep that sense that the hip's initiating. So you've got now a kind of roll with the jaw. The natural pressure of the jaw kind of coming back towards the hand. Pressing in and out. Get the hip again. You want the hip to really like kick. So just play with both sides in this one. I'll do a few on one side. So. So this is an easy one in a way to kind of lose the connection. So just play. This is probably to explain, but play with the idea that the hands are closer to the body, so it's tight to the body. This hand in this one is really kind of pushing into the body. So I'm going to create my own kind of tension in this one. This is also the distinction between pushing out with the arm and really getting the hip underneath it. So get to a point when if you try and push out with the arm, you can't really push it out. You're basically pushing against yourself as you do it. And then play with the idea of getting the hip underneath it and then wedging the connection with the hip. So you kind of press, you press the connection out. So it gets to the point when you basically bite into it. I can't really push it any further with just the hand, and then get the hip underneath it and wedge the hip into that connection. So you're basically creating a kind of the spiral through the hand. And this feeling is a little bit like you're kind of pulling the connection with the hip and the hand. So rather than a sense that you're kind of pushing the hand out away from the hip, you want to kind of pull that connection between the hip and the hand. You've got that kind of movement. There's a big difference between the upper body pushing it and the lower body basically biting into the connection. This is tricky because you're kind of blocking yourself one side and trying to pull the other. So. Nice. Okay, great. So we'll take this a bit more into kind of technique. So take the Jo just in the center. This is just kind of balance it. If you're working like a Nikkyo Shomichi, but really just focusing on the handwork and the sense of the spiral coming from the hip. So you're going to start in that kind of position and then think about rolling the hip out. At the same time, you're going to take the grip at the end and then think about spiraling it into it. So basically dropping into it. So you roll from this position, think about the hip, basically generating that motion in the hand. So that, and then once you've got it, get the connection in, take the grip and kind of wind that spiral in. And first you just get the feeling for that spiral kind of rolling from the hip to the hand. So. Nice. And then take this a little bit more where the technique goes. So you're going to basically step into it with that same side. So that, and then you're going to basically draw that connection out, find the grip, and then again, make a connection between the center of the Jo, the center between the two hands, between the grip, and the center line of the body, and then spiral that connection in as you go into it. And then if you want to, you can add that second step in. But just playing out with that idea, you're going to kind of roll up, open this connection out, make a real connection between the center of the grid, strong grip, and then think about spiraling the hip. So it's trying to really get that sense of a spiral connection from the hips to the hands into the jaw. So. Nice.
Wow.
Now you're going to bring in the idea from before we had this sense of kind of splitting the jaw, imparting a kind of percussion into the jaw, kind of splitting the jaw out. Try and find it out here. So as you go into this movement, as you get this position, think of a little bit of imparting a kick into the movement and then drop through it this way. So you basically want to later, so use this like a kind of a 𝒕𝒉 in a way. You've got that and then that. So I kind of press into it a little bit. Only slightly in this case. And in terms of Taijutsu, it's less than in terms of like the weapons, that kind of focus, kind of strike. But I still want to sense that the sense is basically kicking behind the movement and then kind of dragging in behind it. You've also got a kind of secondary one in terms of the step, if you bring the step into it. So you've got the sense like that, as this comes up, slightly dropping the center line into it, and then snap it in. And you've got this movement there. There's also one coming into this kind of movement as well. So you've got a kind of flexible pattern moving through it, but so that I'm able to kind of bring the center line, bring the center of the body behind it. It's kind of snap, just as you do the weapons really, but it's a little bit tricky because it's a little bit more dispersed with the hands. Right. So just watch, especially with this one, if I do this by like out with the hand, it's the same. If you go to this one, this is a kind of easy exercise because I'm basically balancing the body and then the hands kind of snap out. But if you do this in a way like with the hands like that, basically the body gets pulled forward through and then basically the balance gets toppled over. So the risk in doing it in a kind of dynamic way is that the body gets pulled out. Now, if I do it by initiating it with the hand, basically the body gets pulled out of it. And then the same in this kind of position. If I initiate it with the hand, it pulls the top of the body out of it. So try and feel that kick, the organization of it comes from the center of the body. So you want that same sense of hitting the center of the posture. That here. So it passes to the hand, but it doesn't, the impulse doesn't start from the hands. In the same way again with the weapons, that it doesn't go out with the hands, but it's the feeling that the center is kind of coming into place. And then the hands are kind of supporting it. So you want that same kind of feeling as you do it. But really focus on the center basically going to press that movement in rather than the arms pulling the center out. So one will create a split and one will kind of join the body together. You want obviously the one that's going to join the body together, something like that. Yeah. So that's yeah, good. So we'll take this more into the Nikkyo technique as well. So this is a technique actually that you really need that impulse to go through, because otherwise the technique doesn't really work in any kind of functional way. But so you do this one the same way, draw this up, and you keep the palm open now. The same time, that sense of a press through, again coming from the center, you're going to use that to cut the jaw down this way. So that sense of that kind of movement you had here, as you come up, that movement from the center basically kicks in, and I press the jaw down with the blade of the hand. And then the follow-up from that, you've got that drawn out, dropping it in, wrap it, find the grip, and then drop into it this way. So just play with this one from that side. So you roll in, and then the sense that the center basically kicks that movement in. So you drop the hip, and then kick that movement into the hand, drops in, and then you catch it with the thumb. Flexing to that way. So that kind of movement, that kind of feeling. Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
Okay, perfect. We'll finish with two exercises. One is based on the Nikkyo, the other is on the Sankyo. So you can use the Jo to kind of play with the Nikkyo, first one to start. And think in this case, you've got like the Ikyo, so you've got that kind of motion. So you're looking to draw the wrist at the top. Yeah, it's just playing this idea of spiraling through. So playing with the Jo one side in the ground, and you've got the base, the front arm's going to be lower, and then the top one comes on top. And then just first think about just getting this kind of position in the arms. So don't worry about the kind of contact to the shoulder, the clavicle. Just play with that kind of grip. So you kind of roll in the grip out, just that to that. back to that. So you've got basically rolling the wrist this way. So one's twisting that way, the other's twisting that way. So you're kind of closing, opening, closing, opening, closing. That's it. That's it.
The one who breaks the jaw first wins. Those who break the jaw first win.
Yeah, whoever breaks the jaw. Right, play now. You're gonna play with basically the angle of the movement is gonna go into the jaw. So yeah, you don't want to snap the jaw now. Definitely don't want to snap the jaw, but you want to get the feeling that you're taking the feeling just first into the jaw. So you got to feel at the end of the jaw is basically gonna wind through, but feel that you're slightly pressing the weight of the body into it. So you're just starting to basically take the slack out of the arm. So in terms of the Nikkyo, you'd be basically in this kind of position. So it's just basically before you kind of apply the center to the technique, basically just the idea of kind of taking the slack out of it. So you're basically, the elbows are in position. I've got the weight loaded into the jaw, and then you're ready to basically apply the center into it. So you just want to kind of play with kind of winding in and out. But really that body, you want the body again, you want the hips, everything to be really flexible in this kind of position. So I want the grip to be strong, so I want to feel like I'm really locking the joint in place, but I want to feel that the hips, everything's kind of free. But I also want the feeling that weight's being passed through, transmitted into the jaw. So exactly. It's kind of tricky, but that's it. Great, now just play with the idea that you're going to kind of apply the center into it. So the key thing with the Nikkyo is that once you've got the lock on, I don't increase anything with the arms because it's going to kind of split the body out to the top. So once I've got the lock on and this is connected, I'm basically just going to drop the center in behind it. So think of now again mid on, and then just get the center connecting in and then drop it in. But nothing really changes in the upper body in this one. So once you've got all the slack out of the arms here into the jaw, think about the weight's just going to kind of press into it, and you'll just feel the kind of weight just shift into the jaw, and you just want that kind of feel. Good. So very subtle kind of drop of the center. Now, what will happen if you feel like the body's not, if the body's not balanced, if I'm kind of loaded in this arm, as I press the weight in, the body will kind of twist into it, and then it'll basically fall into the position. So the key with this is try and get a sense of balance between both hands this way, and then the body's basically locked behind it. So the arms kind of equally tight, and then drop the center into it. Basically, breathe free with it. That's great. Last week, just work with this idea. I've got so long, only got a couple of minutes. So just play with this idea now. You're going to kind of roll the grip out this way. So just the first, you're just going to get that kind of feeling. So with the Sankyō, you're looking for like that shape. So this is more looking at the 𝒂𝒂 variation. But that idea, you're kind of rolling a spiral into it. You shoot the jaw. So just kind of wind the grip in. Again, you've got the hands kind of opposing each other. Kind of one taking a spiral that way, one taking a spiral the other way. Yeah, and that's perfect. Nice. And then what you want to do is once you've got that, just get the sense again that the center's kind of connecting to the arms. You've got that movement, and then just give a kind of kick with the center into the arm. So you're not really increasing anything with the arm, pushing anything. You're just kind of loading it in, and then you've got to kind of kick with the center. Yeah. And obviously with the Sankhya, you're going to take it around to this kind of position. But the key is just get that sense, get the hips engaged. That is on, and then kick into it, and then dropping it into it. That's it. Alrighty, great. We will stop there. So just a few exercises you can use for the kind of grips with the Sankhya and the Nikya. And just working with spirals, really. The main thing with this idea of spirals coming from the hips and then changing the hand with it, so everything kind of changes around the hips that way. Okay. Great. Domo arigato gozaimasu.
Domo arigatou gozaimasu.
Okay, great, very good. There we go.